Shalom, Mashallah. I want to start off source by giving all praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem HaKadosh, double honors to the apostles of GMS, and honesty brothers doing the work of the Most High in truth and in sincerity. So a quick one. This is from AFP, vision restoring brain implants spell breakthrough, right? It's a bionic vision bypassing the eyes. The quest to restore sight by sending electrical signals directly to the brain. Right, it shows you direct, what you call ordinary vision, right, as they call it. Okay, it says light enters the eye through the lens and hits the retina, which turns into electrical signals we see when the signals arrive at the visual cortex in the brain via the optic nerve. It says cortical visual prosthesis. Sight can be lost through damage to the eyes or the optic nerve. Instead of restoring sight through the eyes, one approach aims to stimulate vision directly via implants in the brain. Right, electrical stimulation of the visual cortex can reliably create the perception of a brief, bright flash of light, known as a phosphene, whatever. Right, and this is where they want to go to, right? This is a camera would capture the view of what the subject is looking at, and the signal will be processed and sent directly to the brain. It is hoped that the use of high definition intracortical electrodes will one day improve resolution enough to make functional vision viable through this system, right? And basically says that they tested it with, I think they said they tested it with monkeys or something like that. Yeah, this is a team led by NIN director Peter whatever developed implants consisting of 1024 electrodes wired into the visual cortex of two-sighted monkeys, resulting in a much higher resolution than has been previously achieved. And you can read the rest of that, right? And made me think of Esau and his miracles, right? And how he's going to deceive many by his miracles, because people read that and they believe there's hope. They're like, oh yeah, especially people who might have been able to see and then they lost their sight for whatever reason, right? They've had the joy of sight and then that got taken away from them. So they hear things like this when they're like, oh, maybe in like 10 years I'll be able to see again, right? But these times, in doing so, right, you're contravening the law of the Most High, which we're going to get into in a second. Okay, and you're not trusting in the Most High because if you're Israelite, that is, because here it is that when Yahweh Shah wasn't seen, we're gonna get a couple of counts. He just walked by, ask people like, yo, he'd ask, you got faith? And then they'll be like, yeah, I got faith, but because Shah let me see, right? And then that particular individual was able to see immediately. No surgery, no implants, no none of that. They're just able to see. Why? Because Yahweh Shah said so, and it was so, right? And that is the power that the Lord is, about to, start giving out to whomever he sees fit. It's Revelation 13:14, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast. Right? So those miracles in part go into this man's technology. Right? And it's deceptive because people see this as breakthroughs. Right? They see this as a way to glorify Esau, if you will. Right? And Esau presents it as such. Right? But really, who's the one that gives the understanding for all of this? The Most High, right? There's nothing that Esau can do that he can't, that he did of himself. Scripture says a man can receive nothing except to be given him from the Most High. Okay, says yes, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast. Right, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast which had the wound by a sword and did live. Okay, this is our Revelation 16:14, but reiterating more or less the same point. It says, for they are the spirit of devils working miracles. Once again, those different technological advancements. Right, here it is. Esau's making people quote walk again. I mean, they look hella retarded, but he's making them walk again. Right, saw a video the other day that you had there was a tram crash here in London, down South London, in a place called Croydon, right, where basically one geezer had his arm amputated, right, and it basically stuck on a bionic arm, and it was able to move. He was able to go to the gym, right? And once again, this is a completely bionic arm, right? But these are the miracles. So people looking at this guy's like, oh, hasn't science come so far, right? But the Most High is the one that gave that understanding, right? Because it's the Most High that sets the bounds. Wasn't even gonna grab this, but I'm gonna grab it. Oh no, 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 it's not the one I want. It's Job, yep. It's Job 14:5. Seeing his days are determined, the number of his months are with thee. Thou hast appointed his bounds that he cannot pass. So even on how long Esau has rulership and power, the Most High is the one that sets those boundaries, right? But not only that, it's the things that he's able to do. The Most High is the one that sets those boundaries, right? Which is why he's not been able to step foot on the moon, which is why he won't be able to go to Mars, right? It's why he won't be able to put the mind of man into a machine, right? Because the Lord doesn't want that to happen. And by that I mean, you know how they have this what was it, like Robocop, right? He ain't gonna be able to do that because the Most High's not gonna let him get that far. Why? Because the Most High's about to pull the plug on his kingdom. Okay. Um. But yeah. So I wanted to also grab this. It's Ezekiel 28:3. Behold, thou art wiser than Daniel. There is no secret that they can hide from thee. Right. The wisdom that this man has been given. Right. So when you got a sneeze coming, the wisdom and understanding that this man has been given, you look at what he's been able to do. Yeah, you like, yo, he's been able to do things that other of these heathen nations were never able to do, right? But why? Once again, because it is the Most High giving him the understanding of these technologies. In fact, when it comes to the ICBM nuclear missile, right? It's how the scriptures say that it was the Most High that gave him that understanding, right? That's not 17, 16. Right, it says, behold, I have, Isaiah 54:16, behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, right, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work, and I have created the waster to destroy. It's talking about, the ICBM nuclear missile. And one of the brothers was breaking it down, about smithery, right, metallurgy, right. When you look at all of these nuclear missiles, all these missiles, whatever have you, right, for the most part, the main thing is how do we move this missile from point A to point B, one, quickly, two, in a way that it doesn't explode, for instance. Because for instance, if you've got certain things moving through the air too quickly, you get friction creates heat, and if the heat gets too hot, it basically burns and blows up, right? So one of the considerations they have to do is mixing the right metals and all of the right stuff so that that missile can fly through the air, right? Now, when you think about a missile, you've got the metallurgy side of aspect of it, right? Then you've got the guidance systems, right? So what does that need? That needs the computer. That needs, the what you call the in fact, then that needs rockets to even put the GPS and stuff like that into the atmosphere, right? That needs the ability to extract the oil. So all of these different things, just on the creation of the ICBM nuclear missiles, you basically need to have the large majority of what of the society that Esau has built, right? I.e., based saying the Most High is the one that gave this man the understanding for everything that he has. Okay. So we carry on. It says, read that. So have you read that? Let me finish. It says, "For they are Revelation 16:14. For they are the spirits of devils working miracles, which go forth unto the kings of the earth and of the whole world to gather them to the battle of that great day of the Most High Almighty." Right. Psalm 55:20, he hath put forth his hand against such as be at peace with him. He hath broken his covenant. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. Now I bring this out because Esau's going to show you, oh yeah, 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 I can make you see again, right? But he isn't in the same breath telling you, but if this goes in you, you're going to be destroyed, right? Why? Because he himself tries to esteem himself to be the Most High. In fact, let's go back to Ezekiel the 28th chapter. It says, the word of the Lord came again unto me, saying, Son of man, say unto the prince of Tyrus, say unto the Lord power. So thus saith the Lord power, because thine heart is lifted up, so pride, right? So Prince Tyrus, the modern day Prince Tyrus, is referencing Esau, right? Refers to Esau, right? It says thus saith the Lord power, because thine heart is lifted up, meaning proud. Okay, now who is more proud than Esau? Proving what we said earlier on about this link with Tyrus. It says, thine heart is lifted up, and thou hast said, I am a God. I sit in the seat of God. Now, for instance, you had the actor from from Inception, from Juno, and Umbrella Academy, Ellen Page, right? Basically coming out and say, "Oh, by the way, my name is Elliot, and I think I'm a man," right? Or rather, I'm retarded, and I think I'm a man, right? Which retarded is medical terms, means to be held back, right? And he sort of basically created a society where we now have to accept that all of the news articles referred to her as Elliot Page, right? You look at the Wikipedia entry, it's Elliot Page, formerly known, assigned female at birth, all of that nonsense, right? This is the man that has sought to upend what the Most High had created in its perfection, right? The Most High created man in his perfection, right? He created Esau in his perfection. Lord, Scripture says, even the Lord hath created all things for himself, even the wicked for the day of destruction, roughly paraphrasing, right? And also says, the wicked, which is thy sword. Okay, so the Most High has created everything in its perfection, right? But Esau's come around and said, no, the Most High was wrong, but he is the perfect devil, so he will do such a thing. Okay, it says, in the midst of the seas, yes, and for you to say the Most High got it wrong, that is pride. That is to say you somehow know better than the Most High. Okay, it says in the midst of the seas, yet thou art a man and not God, though thou set thine heart as heart of God, right? This man thinks he's somehow, the Most High. This is what the scriptures say. This Revelation 14:9 says, and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, right? So basically, you receive the mark of the beast, which is the RFID microchip, in your forehead, in your head, or in your hand, right? If you receive this mark, right, this is what's going to happen. It says, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of the Most High, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. So you're going to be destroyed if you take this mark of the beast. So here it is, Esau saying, oh yeah, this is all good for you, smooth words, right? But saying, oh, I can make you see again, right? But little do these people know that is to their destruction. Okay, now let's show how it was done. In fact, that's not the one I wanted. I'll start with this one and I'll go backwards. This is Matthew 9:27. It says, when Yahushua departed thence, two blind men followed him, crying, saying, Thou son of David, have mercy on us. And when he was come into the house, the blind men came to him, and Yahushua saith unto them, Believe ye that I am able to do this? They said, Yea, Lord. Then touched he their eyes, saying, According to your faith be it unto you. And their eyes were open, and Yahushua straightly charged them, saying, See that no man know it. But they, when they were departed, spread abroad his fame in all the country. Well, so that's what all Yahushua had to do. He just spoke it. Right? He just spoke it and was like, Look, you believe? And I was like, Yeah. And Yahushua, okay, cool. Now you can see. That's it. Right? No invasive surgery, no, having to pay thousands of dollars or, thousands of shekels, right? So that they could receive their sight. No, it was just given. Okay. As Matthew 15:30 says, and the great multitudes came unto him, having with them those that were lame, blind, dumb, maimed, and many others, and cast them down at Yahushua's feet, and he healed them. right? And so you think about the, the maimed, even, right, the dumb, those aren't able to talk, right? The lame, people who ain't able, believe that's if you, when you can't walk. Let me just come, yeah, lame, deprived of foot, maimed, crippled, right? So people who can't walk, you might see them people, them jakes that, they're just in a wheelchair. I forgot, the kind of, and then like they can't really move their upper body well, like they kind of just, I can't describe, I know I can picture it, but I can't describe what I'm picturing, right? But the ones, and they'll have like dribble coming down their mouth, like Stephen Hawking, but more able to move. But imagine someone like that, right? Never, their legs are thin for a reason, because you get this thing called muscle atrophy, ATROPHY, where basically, it's a fancy way of saying your muscles waste away. Okay, now when your muscles waste away, let's say you've been in a coma, this same thing will happen. Muscle atrophy, your muscles waste away, and then you have to go through, a very long period of a rehabilitation, right? And in that rehabilitation, you are then able to walk again. However, when it came to Yahushua, you like walk. He stood up. There's an account which says the leaped for joy. Right, let me see if I can find it. No, I can't find see if it's leaped. Oh wait, yeah, no, yeah, that's the one. That's the one I want. Actually, this is an act. So, and this is the power, right? That actually, the Lord is going to bestow onto certain men, because Yahushua was able to perform these miracles, and He said, "Yo, these things I do, right, you shall do and greater." Okay, so hey, the Most High is going to bestow certain men the ability, the power, right, to do these certain things. Okay, it says Acts 14 and 8. It says, and there sat a certain man at Lystra, impotent in his feet, right, being a cripple from his mother's womb, who never had walked. So he doesn't know how to walk. Now you look at a baby, they stand up, they fall, they stand up, they fall, right? They do a little bit of crawling, right? They, walk 3 steps, 4 steps, 5 steps, no, they fall, right? Why? Because it takes a while to train those muscles to walk. Okay, so just putting the picture in your head. It says the same heard Paul speak, who steadfastly beholding him and perceiving that he had faith to be healed, said with a loud voice, stand upright on thy feet. And he leaped and walked. Right? So not just like, he was, stumbling about or whatever, what have you. No, he leaped and he was able to walk again, right? And says, and when the people saw what Paul had done, they lifted up their voices, saying in the speech of Lycaonia, right? The gods are come down unto us in the likeness of men. So people were basically amazed, like, yo, oh man, because you have certain people, you just know that's the person who, he's homeless, or that's the person, he can't, he's missing an eye, whatever it is, okay. So yeah, once again, faith, right? It was spoken, and then it was so. No expensive surgeries, none of that. Right, just through the spirit, that particular individual was healed, and these are the times we're coming up to. Okay, it says Matthew 15 and 30, and great multitudes came unto him, having with them those that were lame, blind, dumb, maimed, and many others, and cast them down at Yahushua's feet, and he healed them, insomuch that the multitude wondered when they saw the dumb to speak, the maimed to be whole, the lame to walk, and the blind to see, and they glorified the God of Israel. Once again, okay, these are the times we're coming up into, because yeah, Esau's gonna come down hard on us, right? But we know that the Lord is gonna set up a standard against this man, right? And the scriptures also say, well, that our people shall be willing, and so the people shall be willing in the day of thy power. Okay, so Jay, they gonna be seeing the spirit upon certain people, and that's gonna, make certain people, join the fold, right? Come into this thing proper. Okay, all right. So no matter what it is that Esau's going to try and come up against us with, the spirit's got something greater that's gonna counteract whatever he's gonna come up with, man. Right? He might, drop a bio weapon, right? A family member, get sick or whatever, what have you. But what examples do we have in the scripture? Scripture says all things written aforetime were written for our learning. This is Luke 4 and 38, right? It says, and he arose out of the synagogue and entered into Simon's house. And Simon's wife's mother was taken with a great fever. And they besought him for her, right? And he stood over her and rebuked the fever, and it left her, right? Showing you really what these things are, right? So then immediately she arose and ministered unto them. Once again, this was an immediate thing. You take Esau's drugs, you know what did they say after you take this serum, right? You might feel drowsy for a day or so, whatever. None of that with the spirit, right? Immediately the fever goes, and then you back to yourself. Okay. Um. Yeah. So we need not worry, right? Scriptures say in 2 Ezra 16:70, or from the 70th verse, well, it basically says, "Be not afraid and neither doubt, for the Most High is your guide." Right, and like I said, these things they give us faith and excitement, right? Because yeah, once again, things are about to get bad, but things are about to get good too. Okay, right? I was going to finish on this one. I'm going to read quite a bit into it, see where the spirit goes. This is John 9, from the top. It says, and as Yahushua passed by, he saw a man which is blind from his birth. So once again, this idea of, he's never before seen. Okay, it says, and his disciples asked him, saying, Master, who did sin, this man or his parents, that he was born blind? Right, showing you that people, born with certain ailments, for the most part, it wasn't in this case, but for the most part, it's because of sin that was that happened in the lives before, right? Which the disciples were aware of here. So then Yahushua answered, neither have this man sinned nor his parents. So he didn't sin, and it wasn't in his reincarnation, his rather prior incarnations, right? It says, but that the works of the Most High should be made manifest in him. So with this particular individual, he was just blind so that Yahushua could walk past him one day and heal him, right? So that it could be written. It says, I must work the works of him that sent me while it is day. The night cometh when no man can work. It says, as long as I am in the world, I am the light of the world. When he had thus spoken, he spat on the ground, made clay of the spittle, and he anointed the eyes of the blind man with clay, and said unto him, go wash in the pool of Siloam, which is by interpretation sent, right? He went his way therefore unwashed and came seeing. The neighbors therefore, and once again, did Yahushua have to do that? No, but everything has its purpose, right? Is the neighbors therefore, and they which before had seen him that he was blind, said, is not this he that sat and begged? And some said, this is he. Others said, he is like him. But he said, I am he. So some said, nah, some were like, yo, it's him. Some were like, nah, that's a guy that looks like him. And it's like, nah, guys, it's me. It's me. Right, so therefore said they unto him, how were thine eyes open? So they were like, yo, oh man, how are your eyes open? Right? It says, and he answered and said, a man that is called Yahushai made clay and anointed mine eyes and said unto me, go to the pool of Siloam and wash. Right? And I went and I washed and I received sight. Then said they unto him, where is he? He said, I know not. They brought him to the Pharisees, him that aforetime was blind. And it was the Sabbath day when Yahushua made the clay and opened his eyes. Then again, the Pharisees also asked him how he received his sight. He said unto them, he put clay upon mine eyes, and I washed and do see. Therefore, some of the Pharisees, this man is not of God, because he keepeth not the Sabbath day. Oh, and that's Jake for you, man. Others said, how can a man that is a sinner do such miracles? And there was division among them. Okay. It says, they say that unto the blind man, again, what sayest thou of him, that he opened thine eyes? He said he is a prophet. But the Jews did not believe concerning him that he had been blind and received his sight, until they called the parents of him that received his sight. Now, this is the reason why I wanted to kind of read through it, just to show, the hard-headedness of Jake, right? Because even, although scripture says that people should be willing the day of thy power, you just gonna have Jakes that just ain't gonna believe. You're just not going to believe. Why though? Because it's not their lot to believe, right? It's their lot to be destroyed, right? You read Zechariah 13, basically says this, right? 13, 8 and 9. It says, and it shall come to pass that in all the land, referring to the land of America, saith Yahweh, two parts therein shall be cut off and die, but the third shall be left therein. So, any Israelite, sorry, so 2/3 of the Israelites over there in the land of America, they just go and die, right? And any other heathen in that land, look, if you're on that, on the shores of America when those missiles are fired, you got no hope, right? But the third, right, they have hope, they have salvation in Yahushua, right? It says, and I'll bring the third part through the fire, and will find them as silver is refined, and will try them as gold is tried. Right? They shall call on my name, and I will hear them. I will say, it is my people, and they shall say, the Lord is my power. Okay. So I'll just finish this real quick. Verse 19, John 9:19, it says, and they asked them, saying, is this your son, whom ye say was born blind? How then doth he now see? Right? So I said, they hate him, and they didn't want to believe. Right? It says, his parents answered them and said, we know that this is our son, and that he was born blind. But by what means he now seeth, we know not. Oh, who hath opened his eyes, we know not. He is of age. Ask him, he shall speak for himself. Right? These words spake his parents because they feared the Jews, for the Jews had agreed already that if any man did confess that he was a Mashiach, right, he should be put out of the synagogue. Right? Therefore said his parents, he is of age, ask him. Then again called they the man that was blind and said unto him, give God the praise. We know that this man is a sinner. He answered and said, whether he be a sinner or no, I know not. One thing I know, that where I was blind, now I see. Okay. So yeah, I think we can end it there. I think I said at the beginning it's just gonna be a quick one, and not gonna be a quick one, but as always, Lord's all that was edifying. Esau's got his miracles, but the Most High's miracles are, the Most High's the one that gave Esau the understanding. So as always, that was Lord was our edifying. To the next time, I say Shalom.